what's going on, everybody? Donovan here with Ernie Williamson Music. I had a couple of questions come up recently that I thought I would answer for you here, specifically about how like the backbores work with AR resonance trumpets. Now, I think many of you know that one of the cool features about a trumpet from AR resonance is the adjustable gap receiver. And so I want to just kind of demonstrate sort of how that works, because what happens is when people inquire about the horn, they often ask like, well, can I use my normal mouthpiece? Do I have to use an AR mouthpiece? And the answer is yes, of course, you can use your normal mouthpiece with it. You do not have to have a threaded backbore. Essentially, here's how the system would work. So right now, with this is his C trumpet, which is a great little C trumpet, by the way. This is set up using one of his mouthpieces and a threaded backbore. So we have the receiver and the lead pipe, and the gap is built into the backbore. So this is his C trumpet backbore, and it's a medium backbore, and it's with the number 4 gap. So it's going to give you a 4mm gap, so the notes will feel, maybe a little far apart for some people, but the slots will be nice and big. And the gap matters for a few things with intonation and so on and so forth. But the biggest difference is if we have no gap, then the horn will feel super fluid, but it'll feel like the slots are like that big. And you have to just be like super, super, super precise to have your, with your note accuracy. You'll feel like there's just no room for error. Like it's just the slots are just right all next to each other. Which can be fun if you're slurring, but if you're trying to articulate and pick things out clearly, especially above the staff, you'll find it to be very, very difficult. If the gap is too large, then you'll find that the slots are big, maybe too big. And you'll find that like it can be difficult to like slur and easily move up and down the instrument. Think about the gap almost like stair steps, okay? Have you ever like walked up stair steps that aren't up to code and they're too small and you feel like I feel like I'm like barely moving up the stairs if I take one at a time, but they're kind of too far to take 2 at a time. So that's where they're like, that's like a gap that's too small. And then have you ever climbed up stairs where they're just too big? You do the first one, like that's fine, but you get to the 3rd, 4th, 10th stair step that's too far apart, and you realize like these are just really, too far apart. Well, that's kind of the way that the gap works. All right, doing this from a different day because I got interrupted last time. You heard the doorbell, and just seconds before on this video, you heard the doorbell. So now we are, a different day. Still a green sweater, but a different green sweater. Nevertheless, so yeah, that's why gap matters, all right? So with AR resonance trumpets, and it's one of the only trumpets to offer this, which is really cool, they generally will come with a set of gap adjusters. They're these little nickel silver adjusters. They're in 1mm increments, and you screw them into your receiver. And then with that, you can use any normal mouthpiece, a Bach mouthpiece, a Lotus mouthpiece, a GR mouthpiece, a Monette mouthpiece. Any mouthpiece you want, you can use then with that. Now, once you know your ideal gap, if you want, you can use, you can have AR make you one of their backbores that's threaded. And when that threaded backbore has the gap built in, so you have to tell them the size gap, your preferred size gap, and the backbore you want, and they will make one for you like that that's threaded. And then you can just screw that in lieu of the gap adjuster that you would use for a normal mouthpiece. So if this had the normal gap adjuster, I'd unscrew that and take it out, and then I'd screw this in. And then essentially what we have at this point is like it essentially operates as one solid piece. Just like how we have a 2-piece mouthpiece here, and because they screw together, they essentially now operate as one. Now this whole system operates as one solid piece. Gives you more efficiency, more resonance with less effort. That's the attraction for the system. But the gap is set. I can't adjust the gap. If I want the gap to be different here, then I have to have a new backbore made, basically, with the gap changed. Now, that being said, most people find their target for gap, and then they don't change it after that. They find where they like the slots. How big do you want the slots? Do you want them this big? Do you want them this big? Do you want them this big? How do you like them? And then most people like to stay at that distance, that slot, so that they can more consistently play. They don't usually change it based on their situation. So for most people, you're gonna dial in what you like, and it'll stay that way forever. So that's the gap system, the AR resonance adjustable gap system, the backboards, whatever. Every AR resonance trumpet should come with the adjusters so that you can use a standard mouthpiece. They should all pretty much come with that. None of them come with mouthpieces, so you have to get your own mouthpiece, and you really can't order the mouthpiece with the screw backboard until you know what your preferred gap is. Now, if you already know that, then you can, by all means, go ahead and order a mouthpiece and the backboard with the 2 gap or the 3 gap, whatever you want. But until you know that, you can't order it. Okay, does that help? Does that make sense? Hope that clears up some confusion. If you'd like to get an AR resonance trumpet or a mouthpiece or backboard or whatever, go to erniewilliamson.com and you'll see the products we have there. And you're always welcome to email me directly, donovan@erniewilliamson.com. And I'm happy to work with you on this stuff to try to help you find the right product for you. Our website's always under construction, but we're making a lot of improvements to it, so it should be getting better and better and better as time goes on. So, all right. Thank you for watching. Let me know if I can help. Bye-bye.